this guy is trying to live forever. Are you a vampire?
Yes.
Why did you take your son's blood and put it in your body?
I mean, my son is here. Talmud, do you want to come say hi?
Blink twice if he tricked you into doing it.
Yeah. I have the best biomarkers of anybody on the planet. So if there were an Olympic sport for health, I would be the gold medalist.
SteveWillDoIt is healthier than you.
Sleep is the most powerful drug. To demonstrate this, I achieved the best sleep score in human history. So there's 5 habits you want to do for sleep. I am happier than almost anybody. I think I have a more fulfilled life than anybody.
Well, you got me beat.
Like basically, I have already died. Bryan Johnson is dead.
What was Liver King's real name?
Yeah, Bryan Johnson.
Because, dude, he also sat on this podcast and said Bryan Johnson died.
Let me tell you the story real quick about Bryan Johnson. That guy's fucking gone.
Dead.
2030 is going to make 2025 look like the 3rd century. We're all NPCs.
Who's the main character? Roman Reigns.
My internal body clock is 0.57. My birthday's every 21 months.
All right, so how much will Mike's Burger take off your life?
Roughly the same as 1 cigarette.
20 minutes.
Fine.
When you do things like binge eat at night, there's a calculation of how much you're actually dying.
You do that, Mike.
Well, you do too, you scumbag.
No, it's sick. Because you're right. No, what you're describing is right. I love potato chips. Bro, if I had a shake past 8 p.m., I would totally do it.
Drink
In and out. Whatever. I like drinking. Bryan.
I was about to go on stage last night. Or in the ring, yeah.
I don't feel like my higher ups would have liked that.
Why?
I don't know. You're not a wrestler. What would you have done?
Brought peace.
You
like broken peace.
No, at a wrestling event, we don't want peace. We want violence.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever wrestled against someone that can live forever?
No.
You can't hurt them.
Yeah, is that true? You're unscathed, invincible.
Yeah. I'm the escape artist for death.
Whoa. Bryan Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Give him a fucking blurb.
All right, this guy right here is trying to live forever.
Well, forever is not a construct that the human mind can currently understand.
Maybe not
So
your
he's not-
mind.
No.
Riddled with
These
crack
are
for
of
2
his-
decades.
Leave the crack out of it. These are Bryan's words. But a large increase in lifespan. That's what we're talking about today, right? Is that right?
An extremist. You're an extremist who's taking things to the extreme, trying to do things with your body, treating it as a guinea pig so you can try to extend your lifespan, longevity. But not only that, Bryan, you're a successful tech entrepreneur. You just have a Netflix documentary called Don't Die come out. Congratulations on that, by the way. I just watched it. Sold Braintree Venmo, the payment processor. I use it regularly for $300 million. You're a rich guy, you're a live forever guy, and you're a guy. Congratulations
on all 3 of those
Thanks,
things.
guys. Appreciate that.
And Bryan, I like you. You're so smiley, and every time we've met up, it's been so friendly. But dude, I'm not going to take it easy on you in this podcast. No, I'm not. I'm gonna ask you the hard hitting question.
All right, I'm ready for it.
Are you a vampire?
Yes. I mean, my internal body temperature is 93.4 Fahrenheit. I'm 5 degrees lower than 98.7.
Dude, stop fucking with me, dude.
Yeah.
Wait. Repeat that one more time for anybody like myself who missed a small part of it.
So normal body temperature is
98.6, 7.
Thereabouts. Yeah. Mine's 93.4.
Okay. How? Why? And is that a good thing?
Yeah. So the theory is animal species that have lower metabolic rates, lower body temperatures, live longer.
Turtles.
So lower metabolic rate.
Is there another example? Sorry. Turtles. I wanted to.
So much is conveyed in that. Yeah. Yeah. But we know this. Colder things typically do better. Now there's some exceptions where dolphins run a little hotter, but generally speaking, the combination of having no inflammation in my body, being on caloric restriction, a very pristine diet, my body temp has dropped 5 degrees. It's pretty stunning.
Dude, your lifestyle is insane.
In what way?
It's just so extreme, and you have to be so committed to do it. You take how many pills a day?
50.
And you have 100% sleep score for the past
year.
And you work out every single day, no caffeine, no alcohol, all the things you'd expect like the best behaving person to do and the healthiest person to do. Would you say you're probably one of the healthiest people in the world?
I think it is accurate to say I am the most healthy person in the entire world. I have the best comprehensive biomarkers of anybody on the planet. So if there were an Olympic sport for health, I would be the gold medalist.
SteveWillDoIt is healthier than you.
Who?
SteveWillDoIt. I'm 100% positive that SteveWillDoIt is the healthiest person on the planet.
Okay.
He's another creator, super focused on health, cold plunges every day. He's an excessive drinker and gambler. He's got some faults, but I believe that if you went head to head with him, you guys would have a showdown.
He would at least be a close second.
Yes. Okay.
Can we go one by one?
Yeah.
By the way of things here,
Like we're gonna go back and forth.
Right.
We're gonna rapid fire,
Yeah.
but don't feel free to
that's
like.
not what I meant.
Oh,
I just meant a little bit of more regimented approach than our normal rapid fire because you have a very regimented lifestyle. The three big ones that stick out to me in my studies, in my research, is diet, sleep, and exercise.
Yeah.
Can you start by prioritizing the three into what is the most important for human lifespan expansion, and then tell us a little bit about what you do in those three categories?
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit of methodology behind like why we do these things. So let's just say your life expectancy in California, average life expectancy is 79 years. So you can back into that and say you die blank percent every day, right? You can actually calculate how much your body dies every day, right? Then if you slow that down, then you can live longer than 79 years. If you speed it up, you live shorter than 79 years, right? Makes sense. So things that accelerate, if you smoked or you drank or you're obese, that accelerates your rate of death. So you're going to live fewer than 79 years. If you do good things, sleep well, exercise, etc., you're going to extend that. And so what we did is we said, we're going to look at all the scientific evidence ever published on the evidence on slowing down aging and accelerating aging. And then we're going to try to be the most don't die person in human history. So how do you slow down the speed of aging? How do you extend lifespan? And that's what we've done. And so for example, when I say I have the best comprehensive biomarkers, for example, like my internal body clock on my speed of aging is 0.57.
you got it lower than 0.62.
I did 0.57.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You know about this. You know how hard that is.
I got my epigenetic age done. I'm aging at 0.72.
Good job. That's excellent.
It's pretty solid.
Mine was 1.68.
Did you measure it? Did you measure it?
I'm actually should be clocking out any second. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
0.57. You're aging like almost half as slow as the regular person.
Exactly. My birthday's every 21 months.
So what, based on that, and I did do a analysis on my biological age, and it was I'm probably right around 1.0 because I was about my age from a biological standpoint, which I'm trying to work on. So that would mean that based on that marker, you would anticipate in the state of California living to about 147 years old. Is that a good guesstimate?
I mean, you can say it's some number of years more than 79, but I started at 1. And so we've marched our way down to 0.57.
How long did it take?
Like 4 years to get to this level. Just like getting better and better.
And we're going to cover the things that you did. I want to ask one overarching question before we even get to it. Nature versus nurture, genetics. How old did your grandparents live to? How old are your parents now? And how much do you think that affects your actual end game lifespan?
I mean, I'm genetically disadvantaged. So I met this, I created this, so when I first started doing this, people would view me and they see the headlines and they'd be like, vampire, eccentric billionaire, fuckhead, and Dorian Gray, Prometheus. Like they just
unloaded on
unload. They're just a string of words of like, I don't know what, but I'm repulsed.
Yeah.
They didn't know what it was. It was like some version of like,
God,
I hate you and I want you to die.
I think the response you elicit from people is wild, by the way. You're trying to live forever and people hate it.
They hate it.
They hate it.
They give him the same response they give you, and all he's trying to do is live forever.
Yeah. Well, I hear some of their claims. By the way, I'm not a hater. I'm a subscriber because I too am trying to live like forever. Because look, I got haters too, and the only way you can really win is you outlive all these motherfuckers.
Yeah. What's their vector when they hate on you? What do they say? Like what?
Oh, you don't want. We don't gotta do all that. We don't gotta do all that. No, everyone loves me.
Yeah, I get it.
So. Like I wanted to live till I was 150, and so like I'm really interested. And after this, we have one of your don't die dinners.
Yeah.
And your whole movement is don't die.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get into the specifics of this for people who want to live forever, who are watching. But even that like thesis in its own right, I saw on your Netflix documentary, you acknowledged how human connection. Hey, can you stop bouncing your foot, bro?
I'm just really excited for this show. I was pumped to hear about his genetic disadvantage till you curved the entire conversation. Sorry, I'm fucking sorry, Logan. Okay, I'm sorry that I don't age at 0.4, dude. Okay, back to the show.
All right, so yeah, you acknowledge that human connection and the ability to just like be in communities is important. It's kind of inherent to our species, and you even said like you don't want to end up being alone. But Bryan, if you're living forever, who are you hanging out with? Yeah. Who are you talking to? Like, is that a concern of yours?
Humans are like, our best attribute is how adaptable we are. Like, we imagine all the times that like if life, like, so we see this with paraplegics, right? Someone imagines if you're normally functioning, you become paralyzed, do you want to live? And most people imagine like, no. So there's a story, actually, I read this scientific story where this woman treated ALS patients. She said, if I ever get to a stage of life where the only thing I can do is blink, pull it. Like, I don't want it. And like, guess what happened?
She got there.
She got there. She got an ALS. She went down the entire path. Her family's supporting her. She can barely blink. And they ask her, do you want us to pull the plug? And what did she say?
No.
Like the desire to exist is so fundamental in us. And it doesn't matter what we say. People will be like, I'll give away the last 10 years of my life to drink now or smoke now or party now or whatever. You can't speak for that future self. You don't know. Like, we want to exist with everything inside of us.
Is it a desire to exist or a fear not to?
I mean, whatever it is, she's not pulling the plug. And so that's the thing, is that it's like such a fundamental thing. And like our fickleness of life, like the fact that we're willing to like potentially put our lives at risk and do things that shorten our lives, I think in just like 5 or 10 years time, we will be like, oh my God, that was crazy. We were so flippant with our conscious existence. Like, how could we be so foolish?
So this is one of the things I really appreciate about your entire mission. There's a few things, and I'll list some of them right now. One is, I really appreciate your self-awareness. I've heard you joke about dying by choking on a piece of broccoli. Yeah. Like, and by the way, the haters are waiting.
For sure, right?
They're waiting. You got to make sure you're chewing.
It'll be bok choy, by the way.
Oh my God, bok choy. That stuff bok choy is a death.
Trying to kill you.
Dog, if you get a piece of bok choy jammed down your throat, good luck.
I had to yank it out of Abby's throat one time.
Your sister?
We were at a Japanese restaurant. She got a piece that was all the way sticking out, and I had to actually in the restaurant reach down and pull it out.
That's
slimy little shit, dude. It's like eating a seaweed.
Yes, death by bok choy. So that's one of the things I appreciate about you. And the other thing I appreciate about you is, I think maybe because of your background in tech and just the way you think and the way you build businesses, like you're very clearly like a very capable, intelligent human being. And I like how you kind of extrapolate the thought process of where humans will be in 100 years, 200 years now, in the same way you liken it to 2,000 years ago. Basically, our human values are very differing, and many people are grounded in the present day. And you think that in 200 years, I'll let you elaborate on this, we'll look back and people will think it's crazy that we weren't focusing on expanding our lives. Correct?
Entirely.
So that point of view is hard.
Very.
Most people are living day to day.
Yep.
Just trying to survive their 9-to-5 job, and they go home to their like upset wife and their 3 kids. But I think you've been able to have an extreme ability to have foresight into human development. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that perspective even came to be?
Yeah, it was a thought experiment I did. So I sold Braintree Venmo, and the question was like, what do you do? I had been working for this moment my entire life. At 21, I said, I want to spend my life doing something useful for the human race. I didn't know what. So I said, okay, I'll become an entrepreneur. I'll make a whole bunch of money. And then with money, I'll decide what to do. So that was the moment. Like, it arrived. I had $300 million in my bank account. What do you do? And I did 2 things. One is I organized a bunch of dinners with my smartest friends. And I said, I'm going to give you a thought experiment. I want to hear your answers. So I said, let's imagine we exist in 2050. And we're in that year. We're like, this existence is amazing, like better than anything we ever imagined. What did we focus on in 2016 to make that possible? And then people would offer their insights. And like, unsurprisingly, they would say all the things you would expect people to say in like a current time and place. There's like a zeitgeist of ideas, right? The same ideas, pattern, just repeat again and again. Yep. So I held 12 dinners. The ideas were the same in every single dinner, right? Like, exact same. So then I said, okay, I'm gonna write down all these ideas. I'm gonna put a box around it and say, I can't do anything inside this box. Nothing. Like I can't, any idea that's currently being worked on, I can't do it. I have to find something outside the box. And so I was like, okay, so now I know what not to do. The question is now what to do. So then I did a second thought experiment. I imagined being present in the 25th century. So now you're there a few hundred years into the future. They're looking back at this time and place. And they have, of course, all the benefit of this vantage point. And they say, what did Homo sapiens do, us Homo sapiens in the year 2020s, that made existence exist in this part of the galaxy? And so in that thought process, you have to realize while our lives are rich and fun and we're all busy, they're going to compress our entire century into like two things.
This is it. Continue. I love this.
So like we look back to the 3rd century, we're like, yeah, one thing happened in the 3rd century. Like even though there was like millions of people with like political drama and economic drama, like so much happened, one thing happened. So history compresses information to this teeny tiny amount of
Industrial Revolution.
Yep.
You know,
Yes,
like the
exactly.
printing press.
Exactly.
There you go.
We will be the internet.
Exactly.
Like we will be the internet. That's what will be defined.
Exactly.
As.
So when they say this, like what happened? And so they compress our entire thing. I think they say two things. They say that's when Homo sapiens gave birth to superintelligence. And that's when Homo sapiens figured out they're moving towards a horizon of perpetually extending their lives.
I love
moving
this.
past death being inevitable to like, it's like you think about this, like we've always imagined that God created us, like that we are in his image. But the irony always rules. It's why I'm going to die in the most ironic way possible. We know this is why. Like, we are giving birth to God, right? Like AI has all the characteristics that we've imagined God to have, all knowing, all powerful. Now, over some time duration, AI is going to be capable to a degree which we can't quite comprehend. Now, in that situation, like intelligence arises, like what is it? The first thing it does, what does it do? It wants to make sure it secures its existence. Right? It's going to like size up, like what is the energy source of the universe? Like what is the battery capacity of this universe? How much energy can I harness? And it's going to be like, and how do I eliminate threats that compromise my existence?
Dude.
That's what you do when you're intelligent.
I want to like really dive into that too, but like I don't want to move too much off longevity because at some point in this episode I want to talk about like, okay, you like everyone else. There was this a man, I can't remember his name, who wrote a book called Cassandras. It was about all of the Cassandras of world times in history, people that were that warned us about something, the Trojan horse, about the things that were going to happen. Everyone involved with AI is warning us about AI right now. So what the fuck are we doing, dude? Like, hey man, if this thing were to escape the sandbox, guess what? It's going to. Like it's going to escape the sandbox, as I always use, the analogy I always use, as it lays its artificial intelligence foundation, human civilization will simply be an anthill that it needs to roll over. There will be no decision-making.
Mikey, the Tesla bomber allegedly posted on 4chan about how AI has already escaped the sandbox. And that's what the New Jersey drones are.
All right, sorry, relax.
Not just conspiracy, extremely conspiratorial. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying I think we're here. I think we're like moments away from.
I agree.
Yeah.
I want to stay. The one thing I'm thinking about today is like, how do we apply this conversation to the people watching this? And there's a lot of them in our audience that don't do $10 million dinner thought experiments, that aren't thinking about the first flight out to Mars. And I want to make sure that as much of absorbable data that can come out of this episode for people that are in Tuscaloosa or wherever they are out there right now can actually take
we will bring it all together.
Okay,
we will make the very clear daily habits and how it maps to this larger thought experiment. It's all one thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So to bridge that, I'll bridge it to practical. So the idea here is that 2030 is going to make 2025 look like the 3rd century.
Really?
Yes.
That quick.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Why?
UAP?
I mean, if you say like the core premise is that basically, like when you guys came here today, you probably came in a car and you probably put my address in the car and then in the navigation app, right? And it said like drive down the street, take this path, because I had information about traffic and streets. Nobody pulled out a map. Nobody had the streets memorized. So you said yes to an algorithm because it was better at that function than you are, right?
Yep.
So algorithms are built to do a variety of things for us. It's to drive our social feed. It's to get directions. It's to give us programming. Like Algorithms do things on medical data, right? Algorithms do many things. So algorithms do things that we humans do, and we say yes to them when they're doing better than we can. Over a very short period of time, algorithms are going to be better at us at almost everything, if not everything.
Yeah.
They will be better at being you than you are you.
Huh? No.
Yes.
No. No. What
So
do you mean? No.
wait,
no,
so we're gonna get
no one on
the
this
algorithm?
godforsaken planet is better at being me than me.
So I mean,
Machines can be.
No, it can be.
so if you just let's take a training model and we say, we're going to take everything Logan Paul has ever done.
no.
Yep.
Everything?
Everything you've ever done. Everything. And we're going to say,
I shouldn't
okay,
laugh,
like
actually.
how would Logan Paul, like this would be a cool experiment. How would Logan Paul conduct this interview? Like what questions would he ask? How would he respond? What facial expressions would he say? What jokes would he make? And so while you experience yourself as this highly original character in life, like we all do, we're all NPCs, right? Our patterns are all so similar.
Who's the main character? Roman Reigns. Wait.
Something,
Well, and you want to know the scary part about
Like
it?
this, I'm an NPC? No.
The crazy part about it with where you're going with this, which is absolutely true and horrifying, they don't have bad days. They don't have days where they wake up slightly depressed or a little tired or whatever like we do, and we have to try to battle through it. So on those days where you're only 70% effective, that machine that acts like you is 100% effective and way better than you probably in the bedroom.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's true.
and so like you just take that and then in addition, so it being a pattern system of you, then it gets to pull in all data of the human race has ever discovered to say, how would we interview Bryan Johnson? You're like, what are all the questions that have ever been posed? What does the story in the interline say? What do people care about for a sentiment? Like information you don't have. Like it's a navigation app, right?
Yeah.
They know traffic patterns, they know streets. And so you just start piecing these things together and that changes everything about our existence. And you can make many of those arguments where it's just inevitable. It's already here. Like these systems are so good.
To a fault. And this is what saves us. And eventually this will break down as well, but I don't think it will be by 2030. You tell me a story about a close friend who's passed away. My ability to really formulate an empathetic response to that cue or to that proc query, whatever you want to call it, is intuitive to me, and is going to take some time for the robots and the AI to get like it's just going to say, "I'm sorry. Well, maybe you will make a new friend." Like. But it will sound more like a human. I don't know why I gave it a robot voice because they just sound like us now. But like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, I think there's a good amount. Now, so you believe that there's going to be so much progress between 2025 and 2030 that 2030 will look like the third century. Now, let me ask you the question.
2025 will look like the third century.
Sorry, my bad. 2025 will look like the third century. Why have we not had a 5-year span like that ever before? And what makes the next 5 years so incredibly expedited?
Yeah, it's our ability to increase intelligence. Like we have always been the apex of intelligence for humans have. AI now is, as smart or smarter than us in many domains. And the rate at which it's improving is an exponential or near exponential.
Yeah.
Whereas we humans we get better tools. But like you just have to all this to say, like you can disagree with me that maybe it's not 2030, maybe it's 2035, maybe it's 2050, whatever. Like on the larger scale of like galactic time, it's now.
Yeah.
So the only point I'm making is to say change is happening insanely fast. We can't know what's happening. Nobody knows whether they can express a positive opinion or a negative opinion. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So if things are changing fast, the question is, what do we do as a species? That is the only question in existence that matters. Nothing else matters right now.
And your answer to the question is essentially self-preserve.
It's don't die. But see, don't die, it's a very clever one-liner and people are like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's actually the most robust ideology in the world that starts with storytelling, becomes a practical operating system, is mathematically sound, is computationally sound, and is based in physics.
I wanted to ask you about this because I'm a branding marketing guy, and obviously "Don't Die" is catchy. It's alarming, and then when you learn it, it's a hook essentially with the whole ideology behind it. It's brilliant, truly, and brilliance because you've done this before. You're a businessman, and I think that's actually where some of the haters come for you because you have made a business out of the lifestyle in spreading your teachings online. And although I don't personally disagree, and it sounded like ultimately on Netflix, like people who like most people thought you had the right intentions. Like you are trying to help humanity. And I think what you're doing is like you're sacrificing an excessive lifestyle that you could easily be living with all the money you had to help preserve our species and help everyone live longer. But Bryan, don't die. It may feel a bit gimmicky. So I guess my question is, why not like a more positive, like stay alive or like live long? Like when I manifest, I avoid saying the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Like don't die, do not die. In that, my subconscious hears not and die.
Yeah.
And together as a sentence, I get it. But why don't die? Are you astutely aware of the idea that it is that kind of like punch in the face to grab attention? And does any part of you worry that it actually is inviting death?
Yeah. So there's been more murder committed fighting over whose version of live well people should live than any other topic on the planet. Humans murder each other trying to resolve the differences between who is living well the best. Right? What else? It's like don't die is the most played game by every human on the planet every second of every day. Our 0th order priority is to not die. Animals, their 0th order priority is to not die. All the biological mass on this earth, that is the game. So what is the most played game by all of intelligence? Plants, animals, humans?
Survival.
Don't die.
Yeah.
It's the most played game. It's not live well, it's don't die.
I agree, but I'm not even saying live well. I'm just saying like live long or like stay alive. Why not stay alive? It's the same game. It's the same game.
Let me answer quickly one part of it. When's the last time you saw a viral post of 2 dogs licking each other's faces or 2 pandas hugging?
No, I get it. That's what I'm.
Death, murder, school fight. People burning alive?
Are you playing into that? Is what I'm asking.
So yeah, what I'm saying is, so you, whatever the solution is,
dirty laundry.
You like if you give AI democracy, you're like, hey AI, implement democracy as our way to help humans cooperate. Democracy is a very subjective thing. You have to decide like this or that. There's no clear lines. You have these basic concepts in the Constitution, but it's very subjective. Don't die is mathematical. It's based on physics. You can quantify it. Does a thing die or not? Right? That's what I've tried to do with my body. And so the reason why don't die is important is you have to create an ideology in the world that you can't just use as a storytelling mechanism. You have to apply math and computation and physics.
Well, couldn't you do that with stay alive?
You can't.
Why?
It's not as reducible as a computational methodology.
Okay, so like if I'm walking on a tightrope over a canyon and I'm trying to preserve myself, what's more effective as I'm walking on that tightrope? Me going, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, or stay alive, stay alive. And I don't know the answer to the question.
Yeah. I mean,
because I guess you're clearly eliciting like a fear response, and fear keeps animals alive. It does. You're hitting on like an instinctual feeling.
I mean, it keeps humans alive too.
We're animals.
No. But I just mean like people didn't stop smoking until they found out that it was killing them. Right. Yeah. So they stopped smoking cigarettes because they didn't want to die. Like people didn't say, oh, I'm going to put down the Newports this month because I'm going to stay alive.
Yeah.
People don't want to die.
So
I can relate and understand. I stopped doing heroin and smoking crack because I didn't want to die. I knew I was going to die. It was not that I wanted to stay alive.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to preserve my life. I was trying not to die.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I get it.
Hey, I'm yielding.
Yeah.
No, but I also don't. I think
it's just a guy asking questions.
I mean, the last thing is, so you can, staying alive is fine. Like it's like you can say a positive frame. It's not as measurable. Okay. Right? You want something that is absolutely quantitatively robust. You want it to be based in math, and staying alive is not based upon it, right? It's like some unknown horizon, whereas die is extremely numerical.
Oh. So when you guys talk about your rate of death, which is a very measurable quantitative
rate of aging.
Data.
Correct.
You're going to the ultimate boss of the universe is entropy. The ultimate boss.
What, the exchange of heat?
Thermodynamics. Yeah. So you're looking at the dissipate, like the loss of order in the universe, right? Like the universe is you could basically calculate how much energy is in the universe. Like energy keeps us existing.
Yeah.
Over time, the universe is going to have zero energy, like over a certain duration of time.
Yeah.
There'll be nothing here to play with. So we can't, like, existence can't exist. Existence can't happen with zero energy. And so physicists will probably correct me on that. Maybe that's true. But like, generally speaking, we need energy source, right? Yeah. And so entropy is the final boss. And so you're trying to measure at every point entropy. And that's why Don't Die, it maps to like the fundamental layers of physics, the fundamental layers of nature, of our existence, all the way through mathematical models, all the way through human storytelling. So like, it plays full stack on all the abstraction layers we understand for knowledge.
I'm sorry. Can you break down entropy as the final boss? Because I thought entropy was hot energy, or hot air will go to cold air. It's essentially like an exchange of heat in physics. Yeah, thermodynamics.
Yeah, it's the second law. So you're just looking at, you're going from order to disorder, like to increase chaos. Like there's this, over time, the universe is moving towards increased disorder.
Okay.
And over eventually, we'll have nothing left in the universe. We'll just be quiet.
Yeah.
So once again, Gary out in Tuscaloosa right now.
Yes.
Okay? First we did rich people. Now we're doing physics majors. What can Gary do to not die? Okay, cool. Because I love the entropy and heat exchange and thermodynamics conversation. My father, Michael Malek Sr., will love that conversation. But once again, Gary in Tuscaloosa, these 3 points. And let's move on from there because I want to do peptides. I want to do all that stuff, right? But eat, sleep, exercise. Sorry, diet, sleep, exercise. So let's, which I guess I said. Where do you want to start? What is the priority?
Cool. All right, cool. So here's what we just talked about maps. So it's like, okay, we all know big stuff is happening in the planet. Great. Now, if you're seeing this and it makes you worried, we say, what does someone do about this, right? Most people feel powerless. Like, what am I going to do? So I want to say, actually, we all have power. And the reason we have power is we can make daily decisions to not die. And the future of our existence depends upon a big enough number of us choosing that. So we need to save ourselves as a species. So the goal is that Don't Die becomes the biggest ideology in the world, the most influential ideology in the world by 2027. The way that happens is these practical steps. So I've tried to become the most Don't Die person in human history, which means I'll walk you through my health habits. But the goal is that everyone basically practices these ethos. And the more we practice this as a species, we start in a domino fashion. We start with personal habits. We spread them to our companies, to our countries, to the planet. So let me give you an example. So when you go to bed on time, right, you're basically giving your body the capacity to heal itself and repair. You're slowing down your speed of aging. You can start with yourself. You can then bridge to your family. You can then bridge to your community. You can then bridge to the world. So the goal here is that we feel power in these actions, and I'll walk through these. But this is why it's all connected, is you can be a warrior in this cause of the species through actions you can take on a daily basis.
Like what though?
Okay, so let's start with sleep. Okay, so sleep is the most powerful drug available to anybody, like by far the most powerful drug. And so to demonstrate this, I achieved the best sleep score in human history. I experimented 100 different things. So there's 5 habits you want to do for sleep. So one is you need to map your identity. Your sleep is you are a professional sleeper. So in the same way, like we scheduled a podcast today, we met up today, like we agree, we show up on time, we behave a certain way. But when you think about sleep, you push it around, right? If you're towards your bedtime, you're like, I want to watch a show, or I want to hang out with friends, or I want you just like push it around however you want. You have to show up on time and treat it that seriously, like you would your job. Number 2 is your final meal of the day matters a lot. So I eat my final meal of the day 9 hours before bed.
Amazing.
And I do that because my body completes digestion. And so then when I hit my head as a pillow, my resting heart rate's 44. And when it's that low, I'm gonna have a perfect night's sleep.
You reverse fast from what I am taking in comparatively to the other intermittents in the world, like myself, who wakes up and does not eat until 3 p.m.
No, you do something kind of similar.
No. He eats
in the morning.
5 a.m.
When?
Yeah, like 6 to 11 a.m.
That's it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Then I fast from there. Then I go to bed like at 8:30.
Aren't you hungry?
I'm accustomed to it now. I was hungry before.
Being hungry sucks, dude. That's going to be a tough hurdle for a lot of people.
Yeah. So,
but have you accomplished, and also I guess I can give this back to you and Gary, have you accomplished by the time your food starts to wear off and you start to become hungry, the majority of your critical tasks for the day? Meaning my system is kind of fucked because I've got to take calls, I've got to do emails, I've got to work on an empty stomach, not eating until 2 or 3 p.m. He's already moved through all of his critical tasks for the day by the time he starts getting hungry around 6 o'clock. And at that point, the only thing you're going to be focused on is going to sleep.
Yeah. So people do not need to do what I'm doing. Like I'm on the extreme side. Yeah. So people can just simply start with the basic one of 2 hours. So if your bedtime's 10, just be finished eating by 8.
Okay. That's great. We can do that.
Yeah.
Not to bring up Huberman, because I don't know if you guys are same side or competitors or whatever, but he has a rule that's like, is it 4-3-2-1, 3-2-1, something? It's no food, then it's no drink, no liquids, then it's no screens, and then it's no lights or something. I don't know. What is that here again? Something of that nature.
Yeah. So what you want to do?
Probably hate him and want to fight him.
No, it's fine. So what you want to do is you want to so every time you hear advice, ignore advice and just measure. Okay. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to drive down your resting heart rate. That is the single strongest predictor of your sleep quality.
What is your resting heart rate?
44.
At night or generally speaking?
When I lay down to go to sleep, it's 44.
What about right now?
Probably 52.
And can we test it?
Sure.
I watched your workout routine. Have you considered upping your cardio to potentially get that resting heart rate lower?
Yes.
I have a pretty solid resting heart rate. It's like 39, 40.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
And I feel like it has to be related somehow.
Yep, I agree. That's so like that 39 to 40 is perfect, right?
I don't believe
it's elite. It's elite level. Yeah, it's like it's spot on. So good job.
What do you use to measure your sleep?
Whoop and 8 sleep.
8 sleep's nice.
It's very nice
because it also cools your bed.
Yes.
And as you mentioned earlier, you're 5 degrees lower than the average person, but also the surface on what you're sleeping, if it's colder, it can cool your body temperature.
Totally.
Provides for better sleep, correct?
And then when you go to hotels and you don't have a cooled bed, oh man, it sucks.
I got to make the room cold.
Yeah, same. Cold. I go the lowest number possible.
I was going to say, how low are you like sleeping in hotel rooms?
Yeah, the lowest the thermostat will go.
Probably like 65.
Yeah, exactly. 64 is like typically most hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So sleep and the diet is an easy one.
Well, no,
yes,
you just breeze through.
So start. Yeah, number 2 is the last meal. So just start with 2 hours.
Okay.
And then go to 3, then go to 4, then go to 5. Just test it out.
I see.
And you'll find that you'll get accustomed. Like you might say, I'm really hungry. I hate this. In a few days, you might be like, God, this is amazing. Like I actually love how I feel. Because you wake up in the morning, you're like, best I've felt never. So you want to drive down your resting heart rate. If you eat before bed, your resting heart rate is going to be up by 20, 30%. Your sleep's going to go down 20 to 30%.
You know what an analogy I heard that I like. You're the expert on all this stuff. And part of the reason why I'm so interested in what you do is because like I do like a similar like versions of this. Yeah. A low resting heart rate. Essentially, someone equated it to me as like driving a car. Mm-hmm. And if you put shitty gasoline and your car is always running like the engine's working all the time, or if you're on the opposite end, if your heart is beating less for longer by the time you're 40, 50 years old, if your heart is essentially on idle
exactly
for most of your life, it's going to be a more efficient heart and be able to keep you alive longer because it's beated 200,000 times less than the normal person.
Exactly right. If you look at these like power laws, where I read a book where it's something like mammals get 1 billion heartbeats. That's what they get. And so you're just spending down life with heartbeats. So I haven't seen the exact science. I just know as a power law that you can look across species and see this. So it makes sense if your heart rate is lower, if your body temperature is lower, if you're burning cooler, it makes sense, right? The body's going to sustain itself longer. If you're burning hot and fast, you're going to burn through life faster. Now there's some exceptions in the science, but generally speaking, that is exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But what are some ways to then lower your heart rate, besides not eating, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours?
Yeah. So now we have this principle established of, so people who don't have a wearable tonight, when you go to bed, this is the example, just simply measure your heart rate. So put your fingers up to your neck here or your wrist and just see where you're at as a baseline. And then start with your 2 hours before bed, then 3, then 4. And you're just gonna see your heart rate drop. And as your heart rate drop, sleeps improve. The next step is to do a wind down routine. And so oftentimes the things that drive our heart rate up are when we're aroused, right? When we are concerned, when we're anxious, when we're spinning through thoughts, if we've been in a fight. So at 7:30 p.m., 1 hour before I go to bed, I start my wind down routine. And I do this internal dialogue where I'll say, okay, sleep Bryan is now on duty at 7:30. So I imagine him with like a shield and a sword, and he's like, you shall not pass.
Yeah.
And so like at 7:31, ambitious Bryan shows up and he's like, I got a plan for you. Like, I know we have this new product idea, this new concept. And sleep Bryan's like, thank you, ambitious Bryan.
Yeah, get out of here.
We love you.
Yeah.
Like, you're a great guy, legit. We're busy right now, getting ready for bed.
Fair.
So we're gonna write this down, and tomorrow we're gonna be like full, listen to your ideas. And then I address him, then 7:32, anxious Bryan shows up and he's like, God damn it, today, you said that thing and you were such an asshole. So they probably hate you.
What about if horny Bryan shows up? Because for a lot of Americans and everybody else on the planet, nighttime is a good time to bang it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And for some people, that might arouse them or get their heartbeat going.
Yeah, great. So sex, I think I've seen the data. I think it has a mixed result. Some people do well with it. Some people don't. So I think, like, do sex. Like,
I like these character versions of yourself that you do. When you described the old version of you, which it was fascinating. You had battled depression. You got into all these unhealthy habits, and one of which you referred to yourself as nighttime Bryan would show up, and that's when you indulge.
Wait, who's this dude?
Yeah,
I gotta hear more about this guy.
Yeah, so tell us about nighttime Bryan, because I think being able to identify the versions of yourself that pop in and out of your life, it's something I've done. I always like to play with the idea of present self and future self.
Yes.
And the idea that I want to look out for my future self, and in order to do that, present self got to show up.
That's right.
For that dude.
Yes.
Because I know, like, right now, 29-year-old me is very grateful for 24-year-old Logan.
Yes.
Because he worked his ass off. And I'm looking around, I'm like, my life's pretty good. Shout out 24-year-old me. But so I like this idea of characterizing these versions of yourself. But tell us about nighttime Bryan.
Yeah. So this is when I was depressed. I was building my company. I was having challenges in my relationship. I had 3 little babies. And so at the end of the day, right, you're just worn down. You've like fought the good fight at the company. You've put out all the fires. You've bathed the kids. You put them to bed. And then you've got a fight with your partner coming, right? You're just exhausted. And so in that moment where I'm like, I just can't take anymore, the only thing that would soothe me would be like to eat food, right? Like, oh, those brownies in the kitchen or the potato chips, like somehow eating food to soothe my discomfort.
Well, you look, I'm fat. I get it. Why are you looking at me?
Well, you do that, Mike.
I don't. Well, you do too, you scumbag.
No, it's sick. Because
you're right. What you're describing today about all these things. How you're gonna be like, oh, I'm the healthiest person of all time. You drink old fashioned.
Go to wherever.
Last night, dirty martini.
I like drinking. Whatever. I like drinking. I like drinking. I don't want to die, but I also don't want to stop drinking.
It's a known fact.
It's real. So then you watch the argument. So then like evening Bryan shows up, right? And he's like, look, we've had a tough day.
How long ago was this, by the way? Just set me in time.
Like 10 years ago.
Oh, so you've made some real fucking progress from Brownie Bryan.
Oh yeah, I mean he was like 40 pounds overweight, like 50 pounds heavier than I am now, depressed as fuck, like desperately wanted to commit suicide.
Okay.
Like,
this is really important right now that you're rooting this story and this current approach in that person, because there's a million things I want to bring up on this episode. I know we only have so much time and many people trying to speak, but that Bryan represents a lot of people in the country and in the world right now. A lot of people that are struggling with debt, with problems with their spouses, with children, with chemical and imbalances and mental illnesses. And even more so, another topic I want to talk about, lack of discipline. That is such a major part of everything we're talking about that comes very easily to you now, and it has always come very easily to you. I am a representation of people that it does not come very easily to. Discipline for me is very, very difficult. I am at the whim of my addiction and my desires, right? Yeah. So I appreciate that you brought that up for all the people watching this. So, and you're proving before we even get that far into this episode, that you were able to take it from that place to where you are now in not that long of a period of time. I'm sure you've been here for a number of years already, right? How long have you been in this vampire state? 4 years.
Yeah.
So in 5 to 6 years with discipline and proper planning, someone could pull themselves out of that depressed state into a place where you are very healthy.
To become the healthiest person on planet Earth.
Amazing.
Yeah. So so a few things on this. One is that, so when Evening Bryan shows up, he is so...
Sorry, was that Indian Bryan?
Evening Bryan.
Oh, I was like, another character. That was
Crazy.
Okay. Sorry, I was like...
So he is incredibly effective at manipulation. Right? So Evening Bryan will say, look, just tonight.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, working out really hard, or it'll be like, just one. Or like, hey, look, tough day. Like his arguments are so compelling. And it's like, okay, all right, we'll just do it. But we know that it never ends there, right? It's always this perpetual, always. And so I was desperate. I tried to stop my own like self-destructive habits for years. And so one day I was just desperate. I was like, I wanted to commit suicide. I was so depressed. And I said like, Evening Bryan, you're fired. Like you're just fucking fired. You make my life miserable. Like you show up every night, you tell me to do these things, I do them, and I feel awful. I can't sleep. I wake up in the morning, I'm grumpy, and then my willpower's low. You're just fucking fired. So I made a rule. I said, Bryan, cannot eat food from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. under any circumstance.
No fucking excuses.
Never, ever. Like, if it was like between life and death, still, no, you can't. Like no food in that window of time, because that was like my window of vulnerability, like when he strikes.
Yeah. I can relate.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like he said it, like we used to do a ritual, midnight ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
The boys in the house gather around the kitchen table. Mike would make his little cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah.
Like peanut butter bread for us. Oh man, it's so good though, Bryan.
I know.
It's so good though, Bryan. And this, I guess, is where I'd like to go next. In your Netflix documentary, I heard one woman on The View, I think it was The View, describe your lifestyle as vapid.
Yeah.
I looked up, I said vapid, I like words. I looked it up. Vapid essentially was bland.
Yeah.
And generally, I do feel like that is where I would struggle with some of this. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to stop drinking a little alcohol here and there.
Yeah.
You know, it could, because I think I fear the bland lifestyle more than I fear death. And I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you, like, this is an exercise of introspection, of trying to find out where we all might be NPCs. And so in this moment, like, we're expressing a viewpoint of reality to say, I have this temporary sensation of pleasure by doing this thing. After that thing, I regret it. Right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just like part of our social cultural thing. But basically what we're saying is, behind all this, we say, we're all gonna die anyways.
Yep.
Therefore, we might as well, right? Like that's...
No.
Okay.
So that's like that's where I'm
For some people, he's right.
For some
people, he's certainly right.
I mean, yeah, I guess for me, it's not even like, I'm not even there. I'm just like, sometimes I try to just be present and there's value in that. And sometimes in the present moment, I'm at a social event that I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. So maybe a little espresso martini loosens me up a little bit, and I'm capable of being social. You mentioned it, you know it.
Yeah.
It is a social behavior, and I've heard you talk about alcohol being kind of ingrained in our culture. But dude, it's not just our culture. Alcohol is like almost goes hand in hand with humanity.
Yeah.
It's a part of our species.
Yeah.
We've always drank alcohol, and some people, like me especially, use it as a social tool.
Yeah.
And I guess just like,
It's
I don't know.
so bad for you.
I know it's bad.
No. I think the evidence is coming out more now than ever. Yeah. It's like, once again, sorry to bring up your mortal enemy, Huberman, but I'm just creating this fucking age that doesn't exist. Yeah. I was listening to Huberman recently, and he was talking about that even one drink, because you always talk about like one drink. Like it's just one drink, and if you hold yourself to that, to be completely honest with you, you're probably fine. But even one drink has such an effect on your cortisol release something that speeds the heart rate, right? And so if you have a drink, 2 drinks, and you measure your heartbeat afterwards, you're going to notice a pretty serious effect on your heartbeat, on your heart rate.
By the way, this is current day Logan saying this. I'm positive that when I mature and I start to realize, oh, oopsies.
Dog, you're pushing 40.
Yeah, basically.
Like, when are you going to mature?
No, I know. Yeah, no. I will stop drinking alcohol. I'm positive. There will be a point where I stop.
Yeah.
But right now I'm speaking for the people who don't want to do all that.
Yeah. So like, if I guess in short, let's map out to like 2030, 2035, 2040. When you do things like when you drink alcohol or when you gorge, binge eat at night, there's a calculation of how much you're actually dying.
Damn, bro.
Right? You could actually look at the actual molecular interactions in your body and you could assign a die score, right? It lessens sleep, it causes damage in the body. So there's actually a quantitative, you're paying with life points, right? Now we say, well, I feel good, or I'm just having a little good time, or like everyone's like, whatever. Just replace words with math and say that you're paying down life blank. We know like smoking one cigarette costs you 11 minutes of life. That's right.
And would you say it's about the same for vaping? Or is it somewhere in like probably a little bit less, but still costs you something? I'm trying to apply it to the current.
You can take, so like cigarettes are pretty well studied. So it's a nice baseline to say, roughly speaking, actually I read a paper last week that said 1 cigarette is 20 minutes of life. Okay, so if we say like, okay, there's a baseline of we can calculate death. Now you say, okay, for a kid who eats a school lunch in America, piece of pizza, chocolate milk, right, whatever, what is the die score at the school lunch? Like the school's feeding them. So we say kids can't smoke, but we feed them dye, right? Like the stuff they're eating. And so
like red dye, like in Gatorade.
I see where you're going. Yeah. So
no, I'm just saying because Prime doesn't have red dye.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Calories, like 1 gram of sugar.
And so what we found is that the global food supply is actually like horrifyingly dirty, contaminated.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like it is like we know it's bad, but seeing the data was just absolutely terrifying.
Okay.
And so I started testing all these things. I was like, wait a second, labels are not right. Food is toxic as fuck. Everyone's lying, right? It is bad.
Is it an FDA problem?
Well, there's no one regulating it, right? So like there's,
well, it should be the FDA.
I mean,
RFK.
I mean, like whatever role they are not playing, it's a bad situation. So we started sourcing all of our own foods, doing all the testing. So everything that comes to me is run through this process of source test in my body, because these contaminants make you die. And so that's why I think we're successful in like being best in world, because nobody does this. Nobody does full stack testing. No one does full stack sourcing.
No.
And then also all the therapies on top. So that's like when we talk about like how do you do it at a molecular level, that's what we're trying to do.
What are you willing to drink besides water? Water?
Yeah, so like that water we got from my tap that you were
I was drinking water.
Yeah, so like so the air in this house,
you'll have that.
Yeah, like the air is perfect. So we have purifiers in every room. There you go. Breathe it in.
Wow, that's good air.
There you go.
It is nice.
Yeah, but every room is monitored. Every room has 2 or 3 air filters. But it's measured 24/7, and the water same. So it's tested by, I think it's over 100 different levels we assess. So we try to make this environment as optimal as possible in every single metric.
Oh, we've got a readout right here.
Oh yeah, let's see what it is.
How much nitrogen is in the air right now?
Oh, so the one you want to look at is PM 2.5. That's like one
parts per million.
Yeah, it's a particulate matter size. Yep.
Matter size.
And what is that egg exactly?
So this is an air filter. It measures for 9 different things in air. You want to take a peek at it?
Yes.
So like, for example, the WHO, the World Health Organization, says a level of 5 of PM 2.5 is safe. So we're hovering around 3 right now, which
ultra safe.
By that point, it's like basically 0. The accuracy is like a few points. So it's probably 0.
Why do you live in Los Angeles? Maybe air's not the main priority to you, but where the air quality is pretty friggin' low.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, that's why we maintain such pristine air. Like why I'm in California is like a different question.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, we deal with it.
Okay, you brought me the egg, the particulate matter egg. I look around, I see this army of associates, confidants, consiglieres, people that you work alongside. And now I want to revisit this question about you going from depressed evening Bryan in 6 years to where you are now, and ask you this question. Are you a isolated experiment because of your access to wealth? Yeah. Because maybe Gary in Tuscaloosa can't do this because you don't have that 300 M's sitting in his fucking Chase account to buy particulate matter eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we should probably get to like really practical advice right now, because people are like, look, man, just tell me what to do.
We're scaring people off.
Yeah. Let's just go tell me what to do.
Okay.
So let me finish the sleep thing, then we'll talk about this. But like, we're starting with sleep to say most powerful things first. Sleep, most powerful.
Okay.
So you're a professional sleeper. You're eating 2 hours before bedtime. You're moving back. You have a wind down routine. Now, the reason you have a wind down routine, you're trying to drive down your heart rate. If you put your head on the pillow and you're still upset, right, you're rolling through your thoughts and you can't go to sleep. Then you wake up, you're rolling through your thoughts.
How late are you putting down this horrible device? And
exactly.
How early are you picking it up?
Like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. Put it down, like screens off. So like read a book, breath work, meditate, hang out with a friend, chill. But you need to like calm your body down, like do the thing. So it's shown that like reading a book or meditating is as good as a sleep med. They're very powerful.
So like you wouldn't say like go watch Squid Games,
right?
Really?
Yeah, I mean you're getting like photons in your eyeballs, probably blue light. So like you can test it. Like when I watch TV before I go to bed, I sleep worse. Now you can test it, see maybe you're different than I am, but like you just want to calm down. So that's 3. Number 4 is light. So eliminate blues. Like we know that blue lights are bad.
Yeah.
So have amber and reds. That little lamp right here we use somewhere. We turn that on. We have red light in the house. And then 5 is you want to be consistent. So the body loves routine. The body's clock is so accurate. Yep. So 8:30 p.m. is when I was going to bed. When I was getting my 100% sleep score, I was in bed within 1 minute, like that precise. And it was like, I almost felt like a baby, where babies just like lay down and they're just out, like, and they're so deep. My body was able to generate the systems. It just put me out. So I'd be asleep within 2 to 3 minutes. I am now anyways, but
do you dream?
2 to 3 minutes?
Oh yeah. Yeah, guaranteed.
I'm the same too. It's the second my head hit spill. Do you dream?
Yeah.
Damn. Do you dream?
Sometimes.
I don't. I haven't had a dream. I think that's just a representation of how bad my sleep is, probably.
Yeah. Do you have a measure? Do you know?
Nah, but I should get one. I fear measurements because I know how badly.
Yeah. So you actually.
It's a valid concern. Yeah. Nina's the same way.
I'm working on it. He's way ahead of me. I'm working on some stuff, as I mentioned to you before. I'm just taking a little bit longer.
Okay. So the quick summary is,
yep.
You want. So here's what you want for sleep. When you put your head on the pillow, asleep within 2 or 3 minutes. You want 2 hours of REM, 2 hours of deep, 2 plus of REM, 2 plus of deep. You want to be up for less than 30 minutes a night. And if you hit those stats, like you're banging it out. That's like early 20s.
How about this? Because I know you know about this. What if you got to go pee?
Yeah.
I'm a guy who got to pee.
How many times?
Dude, sometimes twice a night.
Okay, so try 2 things. One is move your fluid intake back.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yep. And then 2 is try to mineralize your water. So like if you have electrolytes or a tea, so that does help. If you drink pure water, sometimes it can increase urination. So push it back and mineralize your water.
Amazing.
And then so you should really, like 1 should be max.
Okay.
If it's more than 1, then it's too much interruptions.
Can I ask you about the hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Yeah, we should go look at it. It's in the garage there.
Is it a hard tank? Mm-hmm. And are you often using that?
Yeah, so hyperbaric's been one thing for us where the evidence is interesting, but we wanted to put it to the test. So we just implemented a protocol where I measured 50 different biomarkers. I'm completing it next week, 40 sessions. So the protocol is 2 atmospheres, 90-minute sessions. Yep. So 100% oxygen for 20 minutes, off for 5 minutes. Okay. And so I'll be done next week. And then we're measuring 50 different things.
Oh, I'm so eager to see how that is.
It increased my maximum heart rate by 20%.
Which is good.
Yes. Like so
your maximum heart. Oh my God.
20%.
Oh my God.
Exactly. It's insane.
So in my like wellness studies, I found that the hyperbaric is like one of the top. I put it in the top 3 most important things in terms of like recovery, sleep, energy, even. In training camps, hyperbaric chamber 3 times a week.
Yep. I I haven't seen the data yet. We're going to see the data in like a few weeks. We measure next week. I subjectively am with you. Like I'm surprised at how effective it's been.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for you to like do that. Well, hyperbaric's been around for a minute.
The evidence is not very clear.
I feel like he waits for like very strong data, like sleep, diet, and exercise have been proven so many times.
Yeah.
Over.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like we have to show it has meaningful effect because when you become optimized, it is so hard for me to move the needle for myself now, like these therapies.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
yeah, but then wouldn't it be, since you've already taken advantage of all the major swings, wouldn't it only be these therapies that are left?
Exactly. So that's why we're trying to do it in a rigorous way, but even like whole body skin rejuvenation, like even a lot of females, I mean, all people want nice skin.
Like PRP?
No, so like HBOT regenerates collagen, elastin fibers. It does full body. It's actually one of the best skincare therapies anybody can do. People think of creams or laser treatments. HBOT is one of the most powerful skin therapies anybody can do.
You're saying HBOT?
Hyperbaric.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
for
it
skin?
really?
Yeah.
I was gonna at some point. I was gonna ask you about your moisturizer routine because you have very shiny, nice skin. But if you want to go with the chamber for now, okay. Let's move on to diet, which obviously in this here country is a major problem.
Yeah.
That we're currently talking about a lot because of this new administration that's coming in. No more Fruit Loops. Run us through your points.
Yeah. Okay. See, let me think about this.
You okay? Want to hop in the HBOT?
I just stop eating so many cheeseburgers. The weight on my
Would you though? You're opening up a burger shop.
I know, but now I'm thinking about doing maybe burgers made of like pine cones.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't because I would still eat your burger, bro. It's a 10 out of 10 burger. It's so
I know, but
good.
when I sit with him,
I won't
I've been thinking
it.
about the idea of maybe living as opposed to just continuously dying.
But okay, all right. So how much will Mike's burger take off your life? What's the 10-10 burger don't die score?
I'll give you really quick.
If it's like a couple days, like I'm eating that fucking burger.
Okay, so it's two, obviously all beef patties. I won't give you the specific fat content. 2 slices of yellow American cheese, Martin's potato bun, secret sauce, about 3 pickles and caramelized onions. Halfway caramelized. And then of course you probably get the curly fries with them as well. We could probably skip those, right?
We could skip the curly fries.
Skip the curly fries.
Nah.
Okay, so the curly fries. What are we talking?
Yeah, if you look at a few of the studies and do back of the envelope math, a fast food meal, burger, fries, drink is roughly the same as 1 cigarette.
20 minutes.
Fine. Fine. And it's not fast food, it's moderate. So even less than that.
And I bet you if you pull those curly fries off it, I bet you it's like 10.
Couple minutes?
I bet you it's about 10.
We're chilling.
The meat and
chilling.
We're getting into diet.
Oh yeah, so like that's like top level. But now, so the recent, there was a guy, Nat Friedman, did this work on plastics list. He looked at plastic, type stuff, phthalates and stuff in foods. One of the highest levels of microplastics in foods was grass-fed beef from Whole Foods.
Why?
So it's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there's theories on like how they actually harvest meat, what they do with it. But we have to, when you calculate what is in food and what the dye score is, you have to consider the microtoxin, the heavy metals, the microplastics, all the other contaminants. So it's not just food as a category of beef, cheese, bun, pickles. It's like, what are the layers of stuff in there and where do contaminants hide? So what materials is it cooked on? What oils are used to cook? So once you start, so our knowledge is just starting to emerge.
Got it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, like, so Logan, on this, it's funny because I hear you what you're saying. You're like, I'll make the trade-off. And so here's the thing. As a species, we have this very loose relationship with life. We're willing to basically spend our life for these pleasures.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying right now, and this conversation is, as a species, we're gonna move beyond that. Like that in in 10 years, it will be seen as absolutely insane that humans used to do things that actually lessened their life and increased disease.
Here is the forever caveat to that.
Okay.
And something I'm sure you wrestle with and your haters will bring up. Life is not guaranteed regardless of whether or not I eat that hamburger. Tragedy it could be after this podcast and I step outside the house, get hit by a car. So the idea of subscribing to a lifestyle that is more bland, not knowing what's going to happen with my life, because, you know, man, like it's just, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
Yeah, but he works in data and probability, not like you step, like, bro, there's not even any cars outside the door. He's got a big front yard.
I know.
So you're not going to step out the front door and get hit by a car unless some errant driver who's been drinking all day down at the Lucky Beaver crosses across his lawn and hits you with a Prius. I don't see it happening. So that's why I'm so intrigued by his current conversation. You got to work off probabilities, bro.
Do you though? Because everyone thinks it's not going to happen to them until the coyote in your neighborhood does hop your fence and kills your dog.
Yeah, but you're
happened to me. I never
really
thought it happened to me. Yeah.
So what? Do you wish you had him eat more burgers? Like, this is calling.
I definitely would, dude. If I knew that he had a due date, I would have maybe given him a little more filet mignon.
Yeah. So like, okay, so when death is inevitable, like it always has been, we humans construct endless arguments to justify it. We say like YOLO, we say trade-offs, we say YOLO. Right?
That was so hot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
we have endless justifications. This is like Logan, who's like, you're good, man. Like, just do your thing. Like,
Evening, Logan.
Yeah, she's like, but it's what I'm saying is we have to acknowledge that has been so built into us, we can't see it.
I love this perspective, and you're absolutely right. It's like kind of like ignorance in a way. But if we are going to do this probability exercise, and we want to like relate this to math, have you considered, or maybe you have the answer to, like, how many lives are cut short and how many people live to the extent of their body's capability? Do you know the answer to that question?
I don't.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. It's tough data.
Yeah, but Brian, I really do think, like, because my biggest fear here is like not living life to the fullest, and then, bro, like I don't want to. I'm not even gonna say what like kind of dark thoughts I fear, or like the tragedy I fear, because I'm not even willing to like potentially utter those words into existence.
Yeah.
But
we could get the
but
data.
Perhaps data. If you told me 95% of people live to the extent of their body's capability, and 5% of people like dying early,
it's probably
death
around there, and you could back the data out, but I bet you that's not too far off.
I would be much more inclined to subscribe to a longevity lifestyle if you told me that, because you're absolutely right. I resonate with almost everything you say.
Same.
Almost everything you say like makes complete sense.
And I don't feel like much of it, having sitting here and talking to, is like controversial or like doubtable.
Not really. The one thing you said that was controversial is that the God thing. And you've done this with religion before, and you have an interesting relationship with religion.
Hold on a second.
Obviously, in the Mormon Church,
I want to hear about this diet stuff.
No, but it's I feel like, even though you're like 99% right on a lot of stuff, and I think maybe 1% of the time you'll say something that pisses off 99% of people.
Well, what did he say today? Are you atheist now? Agnostic?
I wouldn't even use a word.
What?
You're existing.
What?
I mean, it's not, my favorite quote is from Edward Murrow. He was a World War II reporter. He said, those who are not confused don't understand the situation.
Okay, I'm confused.
Those who are confused.
Those who are not confused.
But if you take both the double negative out, those who are confused understand the...
Right? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
We're on this planet.
Yeah, I agree.
We exist. We're like,
what?
The universe, where does space begin? Where does it end? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yes.
This is insane. Like,
no, you're right. 100%.
And so, but then like we take the situation and we're like, actually, let me tell you, what? Like, how do we think we know anything about existence? Like, we can measure gravity, sure. Like, we can measure molecules, sure. But like these big existential questions, you don't even bother. Like, how could you even approach?
So sorry. So that stance would be considered agnostic. Not.
No.
Yes, it is.
No,
he has an agnostic stance.
No, because do you believe in a higher power?
I'm confused. Like,
That's
no, he's not.
Yes, it is. Atheist means you are saying you do not believe that there's a higher power. Agnostic means you don't have proof to believe or not believe that there's a higher power. He has an agnostic approach towards higher power.
I thought agnostic, you still kind of believe in something up there.
No, it's you just don't believe that there's proof to say that there is or isn't. So you just continue living your existence.
Yeah. So like,
I would say you're agnostic.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't use words because I don't want to walk into
a pigeonhole.
Them, like, right? Like the words that have been built around those concepts. I'm trying to acknowledge the absolute greatest degree of humility expressible by an intelligent being. I have humanity has never known what's going on. Like every era, every generation brings new knowledge. Like, oh, that's what's going on. It just expands and expands. Like we're always ignorant. We just don't know to what degree.
See, this is funny because it's bleeding into what we talked about in the last episode. He is at the greatest, probably the greatest level of wokeness in saying, I just really don't know.
I mean, there's that. I love the power and I don't know.
For sure. I exist in a place that is 1 degree either below or above that, which is saying I can see both sides. Okay. Meaning I exist in a gray area. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I hear what I'm thinking. And then you've got this, what is right now considered to be woke mentality, which I believe is the most asleep mentality, which is there's right and wrong, white and black, and that's all that exists in the world, is a very simple answer to every situation, which to me is the most ridiculous belief set in life because there's just not. This is a very complex lifestyle that we lead.
Yeah.
Tell me more about diets.
Okay, cool. So one of the things I'll jump into diets. So like what I'm trying to say is look back through history and see when people have tried to solve the riddle of existence, right? So Buddha was like, look, ego death, eightfold path, reincarnation cycle, liberate yourself from the planes, right? Like he's like, that's what we do. Jesus was like, I'm the son of God, do this thing and you get an afterlife. Muhammad was like, submit to God and had his old framework. Marx was like, actually existence is class warfare. American founding fathers were like, actually, it's a democratic process. But people throughout history have tried to say like, what is existence? Like
nihilism.
What do you do? Like, what is the plan? And what I'm trying to say is like, in this moment, when we're giving birth to super intelligence as a species, don't die solves the riddle of existence. And so when you say like, I might as well eat a burger, you're manifesting an ideology, right? You don't realize it, but you're playing the script of an ideology. And what I'm saying is, don't die is a brand new construct of how to understand reality. And it only makes sense when you're giving birth to superintelligence. No other time in history can you introduce don't die. Like Christianity is don't die, right? It's like, obey these commandments, don't die. Islam, do this, don't die, right? Like, have kids, do this, don't die. So don't die has like been played forever. So, but this is like a brand new, this is why it's so hard to get your head around it. It breaks every model of reality.
But enjoying a burger or sex before bed or a crazy action movie or a big bet on the roulette table, the idea of enjoying those things is not a social construct. It's a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
That is as, organic and natural to our life and to our species as our species and our life in general. So you're not asking us to push back and reject a social construct. You're asking us to, through discipline, reject chemical pleasure.
Not even that. I think I am happier than almost anybody. I think I have a more fulfilled life than anybody. I think that basically,
well, you got me beat.
Living, like basically saying no to die is the greatest expression of happiness. So people, during this conversation, they assume I must be less than happy than them because I don't cheat with pizza, I don't cheat with burgers and fries. They assume I'm at a deficit.
Yeah.
I would argue I am happier and more fulfilled and a more fully expressed version of consciousness than them. It is a legitimate, better way to exist.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you this. When you look at people who are not subscribed to longevity like you are, do you think they're less than?
I think they're playing the scripts of a former version of Homo sapiens.
Are you calling me a caveman? Are you calling me a fucking caveman burger eating?
Well, yeah, so no, but it's like, surely you got a little bit of like, chump. Like
he doesn't really strike me.
No, but like in the back of your mind, you're like, dude, they're so dumb they can't even help themselves.
Well, are you offering like a don't die kit?
Yeah. I don't want to get into I don't want to shill yet.
Yeah.
I want to get into the shilling later. But no, seriously.
He caught me eating a giant bacon burrito.
Yeah, okay.
No,
so when you see that, you kind of give him like a side eye, like.
He didn't do that. He just said he just said
a little bit though, Brian.
What'd I say?
You just said, hey, man, that's not allowed in this house. It was very jovial. He was smiling and he laughed it off. And then I took a huge bite. It was all bacon, dude. It was like 40 pounds. You had that burrito too. That shit was crazy.
But a little bit?
That was like 18 minutes of your life. I hope you don't like your grandkids because you ain't going to be seeing them.
So I'm saying I have spent more time in my mind imagining being present in the 25th century than like I exist in that world.
I love this thought experiment.
I just do. I just like, and I try to think like, what does it feel like? Like, what do they imagine? What do they want? What does conscious existence mean a few hundred years in the future? Like, what does that feel like? And that's what I try to embody like, as a person. Now, like, I may be totally wrong, but I see like the way we exist is so primitive, like chasing these short-term pleasures to change our conscious existence, to increase the chance that we have disease or death is insane. We can't see it because it's the norm. And when you suggest, people are like, bro, chill, or like, there's just so many arguments, but it is absolutely the most primitive execution. But it's understandable, like when you're gonna die anyways, might as well, like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, of course. But when you're not gonna die, when you're in a situation where like, we don't know how far we can extend lifespans, it is a totally different calculation. It breaks everything you understand about being human.
This is super disruptive. The don't die is super disruptive. If you do die, does that make you a bitch?
That was your problem.
So I have already died. Bryan Johnson is dead.
What was Liver King's real name?
Yeah, Bryan Johnson. He's an I, I'm a Y.
Wow.
Yeah,
Liver King's real name is Bryan
Wait,
Johnson.
so you're named the same as Liver King and you look kind of like Trevor Wallace.
We're the same.
That's what you're telling me.
We're the same age, the same name.
Holy shit.
Because, dude, he also sat on this podcast and said Bryan Johnson died.
Yeah. Did he really?
Yes,
There we go.
Yes, and then he became Liver King.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Wait, what if
how many
what
other
if
Bryan
that-
Johnsons have
what if
died?
that-
And that's what I'm saying. Are they bitches?
Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe that's just like,
What if that Bryan Johnson died and he became Liver King and this Bryan Johnson was born? Like he's the reincarnation of the original Liver King.
Bro,
isn't it so good? So like, I mean, we know time compresses things, right? So like my existence is don't die. It doesn't matter what I do with my life at this point. Like over some duration of time, Bryan Johnson doesn't matter to the world of intelligent existence. Don't die as a mimetic. That will exist far beyond me.
Unless, what do you consider your major win? Because in my eyes, man, if you were at like 250,
Yeah.
looking like this, just running around being Bryan Johnson, the don't die guy, I don't know.
Doing podcasts.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough to hate on you.
Yeah. I mean, like, so, okay, if we just like look at that at a, let's say, what is the half-life, right? Half-life is like how fast something dies.
Yeah.
So the half-life of an Instagram story,
12 hours.
there we go. Half-life of caffeine, right? 6 hours. So like things have a decay curve and then they don't exist.
Okay.
So if you just say like, what is the half-life of a politician? Even like the best politician in America, like whatever, what is the half-life of their notoriety? And what happens over time? Things decay insanely fast, which is why the 3rd century, remember one thing, right? It just, reality compresses.
Why do you keep
what is the
using the
thing?
third century?
Yeah,
Why do
you
you
actually
keep
haven't
saying
said
this
what the
one
thing
thing?
is. What is the thing?
Okay, and so in the 1500s, in 1519,
That's the 15th century.
Magellan sailed around the world, right? So what happened in the year, in that century?
We
Right?
understood the shape of the earth or something.
Something definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
But do you have one for the 3rd century or do you always
Yeah,
just
why
use
is that
as
way?
a-
no, I randomly chose it. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was when Constantine did. It was like
It was like the Crusades.
Christian. Yeah.
No, the Crusades. Were
What year was anyways, I'm Yeah. But you get the point. So I guess you're starting to feel into this a little bit.
Could it have been the wheel?
So like, don't.
No.
Way earlier? Way early.
So
Right?
you mentioned that in your don't die dinners. I was on the signal thread with you or some thread.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that in your don't die dinners, it usually takes people like 90 minutes before they're like
2 hours.
2 hours is the average time before like,
Yeah. Yeah.
They
So
have that moment.
I'm going to spoil this for you because we're doing a dinner after this.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil this for you a little bit. I've been doing these dinners for years. And so we do several thought experiments. I've done hundreds. The thought patterns people have
Are the exact same.
Identical.
Which is so disappointing.
Emotions, ideas, rebuttals. Like, so everything you said today,
You've already heard.
I've heard thousands of
I
times.
I know.
So this is like the thing of like, we exist. Like we think we're original. We think we've come up with clever concepts. But like we're patterns.
We should, if you're that focused on like effective time spending, you should have just gave us the food right now. We could have done the don't die dinner where we have the don't die dinner.
Honestly, that's honestly what we should have done. In fact, we could pivot there right now if you want.
Because you
go do the don't die dinner.
No.
How long have we been going?
Well, no. Hold on a sec. Hold on. How long? Let's abbreviate some of this other stuff. I need Gary because Gary's watching this in Tuscaloosa. Get me through the diet stuff and then through the exercise.
Okay, let me do it quickly. I'll just like very fast. Here's how you achieve the majority of the benefits I've done. Okay, so I'm best in world. Here's how you do it. So make sleep your number one life priority. Everything in your life is built around sleep because when you sleep well, you have more willpower. So I did this study with my brain interface company, Colonel. I measured my willpower when I had poor sleep, when I had good sleep. My willpower fell off a cliff when I had bad sleep. Wow. So when you're 7 p.m., you're like, should I eat the donut or not? You're substantially more likely to eat the donut if you have poor sleep. So sleep, number one. Number two is exercise. So if you eat well, if you sleep well, you wake up, you're like, all right, I'm down to exercise.
Yep.
Exercise increases your want to be healthy, right? So the rule for I have is it's an hour a day. That's a lot for people. So just do 20 minutes. And I would suggest first thing in the morning, because if you don't do it the first thing in the morning, like as the day travels on, you're always too busy, always too chaotic. Yep. So first thing, exercise. So choose something, yoga, Pilates, strength train, cardio, like swim, whatever. 20 minutes of exercise every day.
With what core goal? For the workout, sorry. Heart rate increase, like what is your goal?
Just being active. So like you
moving the body.
Yeah. So like every day I do an hour, I do strength, cardio, flexibility, and balance.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I think no, just jump rope. Nope, jump rope. I think if people are gonna do 20-minute workouts, do a heavy jump rope. Because if you do a heavy jump rope, not only is it hard and tough on your lungs, cardio wise, you'll be working out your arms as well and stabilizing your arms. I do jump rope is my favorite fucking workout.
And it kicks your ass. Like it
kicks your ass.
It is so hard
until you get good at it.
It is so hard.
Start every workout with the jump rope. Get shredded. Okay.
So exercise. So don't make it a big deal. Like you don't have to like have specific movements down. You don't have to be an expert. Just be active. Now, of course, like we can articulate more advanced versions like do this thing and that thing, but generally speaking, be active. Right.
That one thing, by the way, for people that want a secondary opinion on it from someone who maybe feels the way you do from day to day, it's the only thing that keeps me alive. He knows this. I get up. I don't do a ton. I don't build any muscle. I sweat. I do 30 minutes a day, either on an elliptical, on a bike, whatever it is. It is the only reason I'm alive. Without it, I would not be.
Yes.
I promise you, mentally, what it does for me mentally far outweighs what it does for me physically.
Yeah, great. Okay, so once you have sleep down, once you have exercise, and there are life habits, you don't deviate. They're not up for negotiation. You build a life system because what you don't want to do, don't rely upon willpower. Never use willpower. Okay, so when your bad time comes between 5 and 10, just have a rule. You don't eat. It's not a question like, can you resist or will you behave well?
It's not something you do.
You don't do it.
Don't die.
You don't. Yeah, so none is always better than some.
I like to equate discipline to two things. Because it's hard, but not really. It's action or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And like, to me, it's like a 0 or a 1. Like I'm doing this, I've subscribed to this, or I'm not. Bryan, it's much easier said than done, though.
Yeah. And some people can, like some people have enough discipline where they can hang out in between of like, I'll have a piece or a bite.
It's rare.
But most people, like once you have one, it's just like fucking.
No, that's me. That's why I need discipline.
One more thing for Gary in Tuscaloosa. it gets easier with time.
Yes.
So you start
Routine,
day
habit.
1, it's hard. Day 5 is a little bit easier.
Yes.
Day 10 is a little bit easier. It's why you have, when you talk to people that are 10 years in recovery from alcohol or drugs, they're having a far easier time than people who are on day 3. So start it, stick with it for a week, and I guarantee you week 2 will be easier than week 1.
Exactly. Well said. So you have those 2 habits in place. Next is food. Now food's third because food is so complicated.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have addictions, we soothe.
Yeah.
It's so hard. So just like be okay, like baby step your way. So with my diet, I've said every calorie has to fight for its life. So every single molecule that goes into my body has to be a superfood among superfoods, and it's got to be tested for all contaminants. Now, that's where you want to be eventually. We'll get there. But in the meantime, just have a general rule, more good stuff, less bad stuff.
Okay.
Really basic, right? So you say, we know what's good stuff. We kind of know, right? Like vegetables are good, berries, nuts, seeds. If you want to have some meats, okay. You want to not do fast food. You don't want to do junk food, right? Just like put things in like big categories. Now, don't get paralyzed to be like, is Greek yogurt a good one or a bad one? Like, don't get into it, right? If it's sweetened and it has sugar, don't do it. Do unsweetened. It's like, you don't want to have sugar. It's like bad ones, sugar, bad junk food.
Like Gatorade?
Fried food.
Well, because like 20 plus grams of sugar
So-
in like a 16 ounce can. It's just
It's why it is insane that a drink would have like 20, 30, 40 grams of sugar.
like
Right.
like Gatorade. Just for putting just an example.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, avoid those things. And then once you have those 3 things in place, then you can level up to the next go. But like just get basic life systems. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like don't take on too much, but build these habits. And that's what I've done. And so like I've made my protocol available to the world for free. So you can see exactly what I do on every single thing. But like the key thing is most people struggle to get started. So it's like give them enough encouragement that you can do this.
For sure.
Sleep, right? And then you're gonna be like, God damn, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna exercise. And if I do that, you wanna gain ground ever slowly. If you're depressed, I feel you. Like I feel you so hard. And like hearing this, you're probably like, no. Like just try to master the basics one by one. So just like absolutely, it's okay. If you have 2 bowls of cereal instead of 3, you're doing a great job, right? Just like ever so slowly walk your way into this.
How can I listen to him, and we've had people on who I would never say this about. I listen to him and I see someone that I want to listen to.
No, for
like
sure.
it's all non-controversial. He hasn't, not yet at least, he hasn't shilled a single thing. Not even, and not that if he did, it would be a bad thing. But the stuff that he's saying is so medically and data driven to be accepted, right?
No,
Like, it's all real stuff.
Which I totally agree with. I find the hate for you hilarious. I think it actually speaks to like the primitiveness of human nature. Like
Andrew Tate apologized to him. One of the only times I've ever seen
Didn't
it.
he? That was good.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah.
it was one of the only times I've ever seen it.
what you're doing is so disruptive. People are just like inherently resistant to it, which is I mean that's people, man.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
But okay, that for example doesn't get to you. Like you say you go to sleep trying to free your mind of all negative thoughts and keep your mind from running. But the chatter online about you doesn't get to you.
I love it.
You love it.
Genuinely love it.
Damn, what a neutralization. Damn,
I mean, it's almost like when it's absent, I'm like, wait, where'd everyone go? You know, like,
you're a heel.
yeah, I mean, like,
You're a heel and a baby face. You're a tweener, as we call it.
It's all wrestling.
in the industry.
okay.
Can we rapid fire through some peptides?
Do it.
Okay, so obviously the advent of peptides as we move towards AI, it's another thing that people are talking about a lot right now. What can I be jamming into my body to kind of either reverse aging, slow down aging, help my joints, help my sex drive, whatever it is, right? Hormone therapy, testosterone. Subscribe, unsubscribe, where are you at with it?
Yeah. First, sleep, exercise, diet.
Yes.
Every single time. So like, people want to jump to what is your favorite supplement? What do I do for blank? Like what pills? No. Sleep, exercise, diet. Like master those.
So, okay,
Then.
so say we move to an intermediate / semi-advanced level here, to a low gain, or someone that's like kind of already worked through the core competencies. What are your feelings on some of these things?
I mean, peptides are complicated because they're not well studied. So they have a lot of complicated interactions inside the body. So for us, I did TB4 and a BPC 157 on my ankle when it sprained.
Yep.
Yeah. I did that for that very specific application. I also did a thymosin epitalon.
Fastest ankle recovery in history.
I honestly, yeah. So,
how did you like the BPC? The BPC is generally believed to be pretty
yeah.
good.
So I had a high grade strain and a fracture. I was dancing, my foot dropped into a hole. I turned it.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was back 4 weeks later.
I sent your video to my brother who severely sprained his ankle before fighting Mike Tyson.
So after the fight, yeah.
Oh.
It was the first thing he said. He's like, bro, I healed faster than you following your protocol.
Yeah. I mean, bro, we're on our shit.
Yeah.
We're on our shit.
Yeah.
Our facility in Puerto Rico is
yeah, that's what he was telling me.
got all the things. But I sent him your video and was like, you gotta beat this guy.
Yeah. And he said,
well, because also he had no choice.
Yeah.
He was fighting Tyson in like
it's crazy.
19 days.
Yeah.
And healed I think it was a grade 2 borderline.
Exactly.
Grade
Yeah.
3 tear.
As far as I'm aware, it's the best healing protocol in the world. No, when we did this, I looked out like who's got the best healing protocol.
Yeah.
They had bits and pieces, but nobody had done the stacked version we did.
Yeah.
I think it's legit the best in the world.
So it was BPC and what was the other peptide?
TB4 was for the ankle.
And then along with probably some sort of like
The ankles. So if you're injured, one, take it seriously. Don't just walk it off. You measure it. So get an MRI or get ultrasound or an X-ray, like depending on the severity. Then we do 7 therapies. So 6. Let me count. First is focused shockwave therapy.
PEMF? No, different.
Different. Yeah. So this is acoustic waves.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one upstairs.
Okay.
So it accelerates healing. We're doing it right now for my whole body, but when you have an injury, focused shockwave therapy can accelerate the healing process. 2 was peptides. 3 we did PRP.
Yep, great.
Nice.
Yep. 4 we did a magnetic EMG. It's a magnetic technology. I forget now.
Is this PEMF?
No, we actually don't do PEMF.
Jake says PEMF is one of the biggest.
Yeah.
He's gotten injured more, but he lives and dies by the PEMF machine.
So I know I've heard this. I think we touched on that a little bit in our team. I think the evidence is emergent. It's not clear.
Yeah.
It hangs out in that, like, I know it's popular in the sports world. I've heard many people talk about it. I don't think from our perspective, the evidence has crossed the threshold, but we do want to play with it and like measure it. So then this magnetic thing, then light therapy, using red light to accelerate healing.
Infrared?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess that was 6?
It's probably 5, but
Yeah. So
5.
that stacked protocol. Good. Then the peptides.
Okay.
so
Ibuprofen.
I don't think we did it.
all right, moving quickly because I said rapid fire. So that's your peptide, all your experience there. Have you ever heard of PT 141? The
No.
sex peptide.
Mm-mm.
So it's been around, but it's starting to get a little bit more popular now as we move into this world of better sexual health. Obviously, you've seen all of these digital wellness companies putting sildenafil and tadalafil in the world, right? And people are using it. Maybe they shouldn't be in certain circumstances. PT 141 is a sex peptide that works on the brain of men and women to increase dopamine response. So I think peptides are very interesting and very cool, and I think there's a lot more studies to do. One last question in that world: semaglutides and Ozempic. Where do you see this whole thing going?
Yeah.
Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it studied, unstudied? Where are you on it?
Yeah. So on one other peptide I take is cerebrolysin.
Sounds brain related.
Yeah, exactly. So it's from pig brain, and it's meant for people take it for TBI and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Oh shit.
So we've been playing with that. The problem with peptides, I would just say this: if you're going to do something, measure. You always want to measure. And so if the problem with peptides is like you do it, how do you measure it? Like, we have the same problem with cerebrolysin. Like, how do we measure it? So we're doing MRIs of the brain. So that's what we come back to every time is like, if you hang out in like opinion land, you're always in dangerous territory. If you can measure something, you're much better off.
I guess the
brain's tough. No, the brain's a tough one
for sure.
Yeah. MRI gives you good data, but like generally speaking, you can look at
What data does an MRI give you?
Oh, amazing. MRI is the best.
Blood flow and
yeah. So I'm the most measured MRI person in the world. I've spent over 100 hours in MRI over the past 4 years.
do you have a
How many
magnetic
MRIs have you
resonance?
And probably like 50, 60, something like that.
Bro, I'm probably right under you.
Really?
Dude, I've riddled with injury.
Oh no.
Riddle.
What? I mean,
Everything. I mean, just actually most of them are kind of like freak accidents.
that makes me very worried. Tell me what happened.
Where do you want to start? I lost 15% of my testicle. I got a metal plate the size of a quarter in my head. I have a 40 millimeter screw in my right hand. Both knee surgeries, or knee surgery on both knees before the age of 18.
Wow.
And keep in mind, his is only a percentile of mine. I'm worse.
Yeah, man, we're fucked up.
We're bad. Splenectomies, broken femur, shattered ankle, brain concussions left and right. Yeah, we're fucked up, dude. Yeah, concussions.
That makes me very worried.
Well,
why are you worried? I'm good now. I'm being preventative. I know you now, so I'm all right. H-spot.
Yeah, so we should actually, after we do this, we should go upstairs. I'll do the focus shockwave therapy on you.
Oh shit!
It will find your injury. Like we'll just go.
Really?
We'll go over an area.
I'm solid now, and I say that like I'm so grateful that I'm solid now.
I'm not.
I stay solid. What's going on, Michael?
Well, just my ankle.
Oh yeah, his ankle's all. I mean, this guy might as well cut his leg off.
Yeah, I'm at that stage. I need fusion.
Wow.
I'm fully arthritic, 100%. Yeah, end stage.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you'll see. We'll just roll it around.
But I'm good. But again, I'm good now. So what would it showed me?
Yeah. But you're good by what measure?
I feel okay.
Yeah. So we.
I have a little lower back thing going on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Seems like something that you should shockwave.
So we should get an MRI, Logan, of your whole body.
I have recently.
Okay, and did you quantify it of like how your joints,
I think so.
You did
a full scan?
Yeah.
Brain volumes, you looked at all the spine and stuff like that.
And how was everything?
Good.
No tumors?
No.
How do you feel about full scan as preventative?
Yeah, I do it every year.
It's got you.
You
you have to be preventative.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've certainly learned, and with injuries I've failed is like to be reactionary on your body is the worst thing ever. So
yes.
So to be preventative and assume these things are going to happen, and then do what you can to prevent them by strengthening certain parts of your body, especially the compromised parts. Yeah. Not everyone's an athlete, but like I have bad knees, so I'm gonna strain my legs often.
Yeah.
And
where do you scan?
We have multiple facilities. Yeah.
You do?
No, we go to multiple facilities.
Okay.
We came up with all these unique protocols. Like, so we want to measure like certain MRI scans to like standard stuff. And we wanted to do more than standard stuff. We wanted to isolate certain organs or certain processes. So we had to build our own protocols. And we go to MRI facilities and be like, can you do this? Like, sorry, no.
Oh, shit.
So we've built the world's best protocol to scan all joints, all systems, all organs.
Well, I would love to go.
I'll set you up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I do want to get out of here because I know you got like a 6 p.m. cut off before you can stop eating, and we're supposed to do one of your dinners. I just have one more question, and I got to get a soundbite. Why did you take your son's blood and put it in your body?
I mean, my son is here. Talmadge, you want to come say hi?
Yeah. Talmadge.
Yeah, Talmadge is amazing.
I'm gonna give a quick spoiler. In the documentary, he was going off to college. You guys dropped him off at the dorm room. Saw him when I walked in. First thing I asked him, I said, "How you liking college?" Gap year.
Yeah.
That didn't last very long. Didn't last very long.
Short-lived.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, however best you can, Talmadge, when you speak, just try to talk into the mic. So yeah, not in college. Gave your dad your blood.
Yeah. His
Blink twice if he tricked you into doing it.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Yeah, well, so he was talking with his dad, and his dad was experiencing cognitive decline. And so he offered to do this plasma exchange with my grandfather. And then they were doing this for medical reasons. And then he asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said yes immediately. So we did the world's first tri-generational plasma exchange. And now I have the title Blood Boy.
I have to say that moment in the Netflix doc was like beautiful, guys. Was beautiful. I wasn't sure what to make of the doc, and I told you this yesterday, Brian.
Yeah.
I was like unsure how they were gonna. I was 20 minutes in. I was like, how are they gonna make this a whole? And it's you guys. You guys are the story.
Yeah.
And that moment between the three generations exchanging blood from young to old, correct, was like you gave blood to your dad and you gave blood to your dad. Was a really beautiful moment, especially considering the backstory with the church and the fallout at one. It's a good doc. It's a good doc, guys. How are people responding to you in the doc? Like you're have a prominent role in a pretty significant Netflix documentary. Like you're essentially famous now. Are people reacting to you on the streets?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I found is that there are so many people who are my age who want to be healthy and they feel like they aren't justified in doing it, or they feel ostracized if they do it. So it's almost as if me doing it in the relationship I have with my dad, people are vicariously living through me to experience social validation for being healthy. So I'm hoping that it in a way gives people permission that yes, you can prioritize sleep. No, you don't have to go out and drink or party to have friends. So hopefully that's sparking some level of change.
Cool.
His generation's is doing it. How old are you?
19.
Teenager.
They're extremely sober curious. They're focused on their health. I think this is going to be the generation where we start to see an increase in response to that type of health.
Would you say your gang is neurotypical or not?
I realize that I'm also an NPC like everyone else, and we imitate those around us. So I try to have some self-awareness about how I act, but at the same time, I live in a world where we prioritize health. And so it's so normal to me. So I've seen him as a father and he's so normal to me. But when I rub up my perception against the world's perception, I'm like, oh, he's crazy to people.
Yeah.
Like I don't see it because I'm in it. And so it's like a common pattern that whatever group you're in, whatever social norms you do, you can't see the craziness of it. So I try to step outside of it.
Fair.
Damn it, this kid's smart.
Elevated perspective. You're ahead of your years, young man. Yeah, good for you. Good
Amazing,
for you.
dude.
Brian, you should be proud, dude.
I am so proud of him.
Yeah, man. We just gotta get the other two on board. What the fuck,
Thanks.
guys? Honestly, what the hell are you guys doing? I don't know them, dude, but I watch this doc and I'm like, man, to have a severed family because of a church, oh my God, it makes me sad, man. It makes me sad, especially because like Mike said, I don't think anything you're saying is like too controversial. You're making a lot of sense, dude. You're making a lot of sense, and you're actually doing something I think that is extremely noble for our species. Because if we can take even a fraction of the things you are doing and the learnings that we're going to find out because of you, and extend our life by what, 10 minutes, 6 months, a year, any of those answers makes it worth it. Kind of, unless you want to have a 10-10 burger.
Yeah.
But let's go do your Don't Die dinner.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Yeah,
I was very excited for this podcast. It definitely delivered. Let's continue to chop it up. Bryan Johnson, Talmadge, thank you guys for joining us.
Can I leave you guys with one thing?
Sure.
All right. So I hope for those of you at home, I hope we delivered on some like practical stuff. Here's like the backdrop. I would invite you to contemplate this entire conversation. So again, travel back in time and you're hanging out with Homo erectus 1 million years ago, right? And you're like, Homo erectus, tell us about the reasons why you want to exist. Like, what are you looking forward to?
They would not have an answer for it. They'd be like, I don't, what do you mean? I'm just surviving. Dude.
All right, we're gonna like find more berries. We're
Yeah.
we're gonna forage more, hunt more, go to war more.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, their answer would kind of ironically be like, I don't want to die.
Yeah, exactly. So like they wouldn't know like what, they wouldn't know the reality we exist in right now. But they wouldn't know how to imagine smartphones and antibiotics, airplanes, the internet, AI, which like just generates intelligence. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't articulate any ideas. So they wouldn't, but if you could be like, hey, Homo erectus, like you want to be around because the future is pretty amazing. Like it's going to blow your mind. You can't even begin to imagine. So I want to propose the reason why we want to exist is I think that we're going to traverse like 1 million years of evolutionary progress in like 5, 10, 15 years. Like it's here. The future is unimaginably different than what we can imagine. We don't even know why we want the future. It's going to be crazy. And so, but I think it's worth us wanting to play the game. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're right there. And so it's like this epic moment to exist. And it's our opportunity to say yes to it. That's what this whole thing is about, is saying yes to life, yes to existence.
What I'm hearing is,
don't die.
if you die, you're going to have FOMO.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
FOMO's the worst.
That's a good summary.
It is so true. I'll tell you something, man. I want to see what's going to happen in the next 10, 20. Like I am eager to see what this next couple decades.
I just want the flying cars, man. I've been waiting for a
We're
long
close.
time. Dude.
Yeah, we're close.
If there's flying cars on there.
All right.
All right.
Let's get it. Bryan Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
guys.
Hey, Impulsive guys. Listen, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.